Oh, did you start it?
Yes.
Oh, yeah. All right. Welcome to DWC Pork Strap in this special episode. We have a special guest with us. Matter of fact, we're interviewing him for all of his great things to do for the city as Clay Morrefield people.
What's up, Pittsburgh?
So, you know what I'm saying? He took his time out of his busy schedule to help us, inform you of who he is and what he does for us. So we appreciate that.
I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. First question we do want to ask, I'm just jump for the bullshit. For people at my age, we don't know you, but we see what you do. I see all the accolades you get. But who are you?
Yes, I'm Clay Morrefield. I'm the 10th of 12 children, born and raised in Hazelwood. 41 years old. Graduated high school, went to Brashear, graduated on honor, was a nerd growing up. Went to college on a partial academic scholarship, went to a black university called Central State University. Went there for about a year and a half. After that, my son was born, and then kind of like my life kind of took a turn for the worse. I started, being overwhelmed by a life that I was living while I was an honor student, indulging back and forth from the streets, and I allowed that to kind of consume me. And then once I left school, I just pretty much was doing that full time. And it caused me to lose a lot of time. I did 11 years in federal prison due to that criminal lifestyle that I was living. That's actually where I got certified as a trainer at a federal prison called Morrefield. It was I think it was a 3-month course that you had to take to get certified as a trainer. And at the time, I was looking for something that interested me. When I went to college, I went on a partial academic scholarship for business administration and management. And I really only chose that because that's what was being talked about a lot at that time. It wasn't really nothing that really interested me. So I went to school for something that never really interested me. I love science, I love math, I love helping people. So when I started getting into fitness, all of those things combined, they're all together. You got to learn how to, you got to do, the big science behind it, how to subtract from these calorie intakes so you might lose weight, repetition rate, there's a lot of numbers that's involved. And the science behind it, the heart rate, you got to have beats per minute for a person to maximize body fat for energy and stuff like that. So it just was the math and science behind it intrigued me. Okay. And I'm always really big on trying to help people out. So all that together is really what attracted me to fitness and wanting to become a personal trainer. So once I got certified and coming home, I worked a couple jobs and stuff like that, just really so I was ready to start my own business. And then in 2013, I started my company called Goals Oriented Training. It stands for Getting on a Lifetime System. And that's really what I try to teach people. I don't really try to teach people the 3-month short-term goals. I try to teach people if you make your life your goal, then there will be a whole bunch of short-term goals and a long-term. So it'll have somebody that's constantly striving to try to improve yourself, to be healthy and live healthy and fit, not just to get into a bikini for a vacation or a wedding dress that's 6 months away and stuff like that. Because once you reach that short-term goal, what happens after that? Just let yourself go again. And then
a lot of people do it.
A lot of people do it. And this is what we try. I mean, of course, we cater to everybody. When a person comes to us, they might say, I want to lock in for 6 months. I want to lock in for 3 months for this to happen. And we try to get them to make this their life so they carry on beyond that, but we got to cater what that person's needs are.
Yeah.
So it's not a person don't come in here and we say, well, this is what you need to do to your body. They come in here and tell us what they want to do with their body, and if it's realistic, then okay, we can do it, but we're going to transform your body to the best that your genetic makeup is going to actually bring out once we add resistance and you start eating right.
Okay. So I guess on another personal aspect is so what schools did you go to around the neighborhood? Like what schools like elementary or high school did you go to?
Elementary, there was a school in Hazelwood called Bergwin. Loved Bergwin. That was my first school, and right down the street from my house. I loved it. Then there was another school in Hazelwood called Gladstone, Hazelwood, Homewood, Arlington. We were all these neighborhoods mixed together, and then really some of these same individuals are still friends to this day with me. So that was a good experience. And then high school I went to Brashear.
Brashear? Yeah. Okay. Why do some people from Hazelwood? Why do some of them go to older Dyson?
When I was light years ago, when I was in high school, Brashear was the school for us. We got bused to Brashear.
Oh, okay.
But then
it transitioned
over to older Dyson.
All right. I'm like, wait, why do some people go to older Dyson from over here? But
it was mainly us, the Hill District, Belsuver, Beach View. It was a wide variety of schools.
The Hill did go to Brashear. Yeah. Brashear and Shimmer.
A little bit of mayhem.
Oh, wow.
I was about to say that.
I believe that. Damn, that's crazy. So all right. So when you said you implemented like science into your like your health style, how much did like growing up were you interested in like fitness growing up, or is that something that you got interested in once you went to the penitentiary? Or?
Yeah, that's a good question. I always was an athlete.
Mm-hmm.
I played basketball since elementary school to about 10th grade. I ran track in elementary and middle school. I was in the gymnastics after middle school, so I was always active.
Busy.
Yeah, I was very good. I was very busy. So just being active, I've always been active and always had a lean build and stuff like that. But when I really started getting into lifting weights, and that aspect of it was when I went to prison. Probably 2003, I went to a federal prison in Ashland, Kentucky. It's called FCI Ashland.
Okay.
And that's really where I got into actually lifting. When I was in accounting, I was doing pull-ups and push-ups and all of that type of stuff. But once I really started lifting weights and start trying to transform my body was when I was at
like
federal
actually
prison.
learning about it. And...
Not even really learning about it, really. And I got a shoulder injury really for working out with guys that didn't know what they were doing. And it still bothers me to this day. And this is, people that train with us know we're adamant about proper technique.
Oh, I know.
And I try to tell them I'm living proof because I got a shoulder. I can't really sleep all that night, or I wake up like the Tin Man. I can't move it when I wake up in the morning. I got to fly. I need some oil. I like oil on it. I got to literally I got to move it and start rotating a little bit in order for the range of motion. For the range of motion to come from actually working out with people that didn't know what they were doing.
Man, I wonder how many people are actually like that. Just lifting that, how many people that have been injured like that? You know what I mean? Like I'm pretty sure a lot of men have been, especially growing up and for high school and all that, just lifting without even knowing.
Like on the high school note, I was reading an article on how like most of these kids, when they play sports and they're active and they're in the weight room, they're doing things completely wrong and they're like destroying their body, and then they're having, like you said with your shoulder, they're having very bad injuries, and kids being kids, they continue to play on bad injuries. And how do you, like, I don't say you yell, but promote the good formness? Like at a youth age, would you step into a high school and be like, kids, you're doing this all wrong, or would you blame that on the teacher?
If given the opportunity, I would. And I just think that more attention needs to be paid on who's actually giving these individuals training. A lot of times it's the individual that might be a normal teacher that become the gym teacher or something like that, or a normal teacher that might be the coach. So they don't even know what's actually a proper way to squat or a proper way to deadlift. And these are some of the most important exercises, especially when it comes to sport, because they develop a lot of power.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot of people that's developing muscles on top of improper technique. So you're like strengthening areas that shouldn't be strengthened, or you're overworking an area that shouldn't be worked at a specific time. And this is why sometimes people get injuries making a cut on the field, no contact. So it's just like, and sometimes it may not be that is the only reason that it happens, but a large portion of the time it's because of improper training over years and years and years. And you think of a child's body is so amazing and able to recover so fast. Like they're doing this stuff wrong, but they're young. Like me at 41, I can't squat a specific way because my knees are going to start hurting from the years of playing sports and stuff like that. As opposed to them, they're fresh. Everything's like brand new and starting to develop. Yeah. They don't really have no maturity to their muscles and to their joints, so they're able to withstand like a lot of stuff. But now once this stuff's developed and they get a little older and start playing on the next level, now it's like this is where a lot of the improper techniques and stuff start being shown from these non-impact injuries.
Yeah, because I know my 3-year-old son, he got a perfect squat. It's weird. Like watching him squat and pick something up, like, oh, okay, that's easy for you. I do it though. I'd be worried about my lower back might go out. You know what I'm saying? I'd be like, dang.
And I'm gonna tell you something that's strange. Right? I had trained this one young kid that was a football quarterback in high school. Mm-hmm. So he came to me to train, and he had a terrible range of motion when it came to bending over and getting stuff from the floor. And he said that once he got taller and his arms got longer, he stopped bending over to grab stuff. He used to just lean over and grab it with his arms instead of actually properly squatting down and pick stuff up. So I think at times it just becomes, we get so accustomed to like doing certain things a way that we want to and not how we type. Because when you go to anything, you got to lift heavy objects. They tell you use your legs, and there's a squat that's involved. It's not really just bending over any way you want to actually pick it up. But I just think over time we get a little careless and just kind of being a little lazy and start doing anything that we want.
If it ain't heavy, you just kind of just bend over and pick it up.
But that was really like kind of strange that he understood that like, once my arm got long and I got taller, I didn't have to squat down to get to it. I could just bend over and reach it, and my hands were on the floor. He was tall. He was about 6'5". His arms were excessively long. It was like, wow. But to hear somebody young actually say something like that and notice it, that was big for me. Then we kind of knew what he had to work on and to kind of improve some of his athleticism.
Okay. So what motivates you to do what you do every day? Like what gets you into the zone for you to be able to train people, even for you to take the time out your day to work out? Like what puts you in that mindset to be able to do that every day?
There's a couple of things that really keeps me locked in, and one is my freedom. And this is what allows me to feed my family, and I'm also helping out the nephew that got killed. I'm helping his baby's mom raise his 2 kids. So it's allowed me to support a lot of individuals, and I'm not doing nothing illegal. You know, it's a lot of times, you know, and I'm trying to get microwave results. We want microwave money too. Okay. So it's just like being able to sustain a lot of things and also take care of myself. And that's one motivation, because, you know, freedom's priceless. Like a person that never lost it don't understand how priceless it actually is. Like, and being gone, I never missed the trips I took from the illegal money, or the material stuff I brought from the illegal money, or a lot of women, or the lifestyle. I didn't miss that. I missed being able to sit down and talk to my mom, missing my kids grow up, like missing my daughter crawl and walk, take her first steps and stuff like that, missing portions of my son's life, being able to step into a shower without shower shoes and not having to wrap a bunch of toilet paper around the toilet to use the bathroom. Like, you don't think of this stuff because it was never taken from you.
Yeah.
So like that in itself, not wanting to go back to that is one big motivation for me. And then just the fact of helping somebody gain some self-esteem and get more confidence in themselves and change their body into something that they're actually comfortable with, the clothes that they're wearing on, and actually, you know, going to play vacation in bikinis, and then getting excellent health. Yeah. Like, that's the main thing, because that's what changed my outlook on it. When I first started working out, like, I was lifting weights, I wanted to look better outwardly. But then I started running and stuff like that, and I started eating better. And then when I got a physical, the doctor told me that out of all the people who ever did a physical, I was in the best shape out of everybody. So I'm like, well, there's more actually happening.
Yeah.
That's not, you know, I'm just not building muscle. Like, there's internal physiological changes that's taking place that you can't see. Mm-hmm. You know, people say, well, I feel I'm more energetic. These are the outward things that you get from the internal. You're more energetic and stuff like that. You're not tired doing everyday activities and stuff like that.
Sleeping in longer. And
like there's a lot of changes that actually come along. So like that's my main motivation, is that keep me getting up super early, man, most of the week and stuff like that, putting these long hours into the gym.
Okay. You know, one thing, like on a personal aspect, one thing that you don't get when you, because I've never been incarcerated. I've never, you know what I'm saying, I shouldn't say, you know, I ain't no wood to knock on, but I've never been caught. But my thing is that a lot of people, when you talk to younger people and you tell them about, like, they don't want to go there, because I'm old enough now where I feel like I can tell somebody, like, dog, you don't want to keep doing that. Like, you don't want to keep putting yourself in a position, you know what I mean, to lose out on anything. You know what I mean? I feel as if, and my personal opinion is that if you have children and you my age, you still in these streets, you're selfish. You know what I'm saying? Because there's options. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people are not felons. A lot of people are not, you know what I mean? A lot of people have not been in situations where their freedom isn't on the line. My thing is that the choices that you're making, you're my age and you're still doing it, you're selfish. You know what I'm saying? You're not doing it because you have to.
Right.
So when we hear you talk, saying that, you know what I'm saying, you went, and the stuff that you missed, you missed not wrapping a toilet seat. I've never heard someone actually like say that, like, I don't miss having to go into the shower with shower shoes. You know what I'm saying? Right. That's something that people take for granted. That's little stuff that people will never ever notice until they have to do. You know what I mean? Exactly. So that's something that, you know what I mean, that's a big thing for me, because it's hard telling young people, like, yo, there's options. Yeah, it's slow right now, but if you keep, you know what I'm saying, you keep at it what you're doing when you work, when you build, or getting your clientele together when it comes to a craft that you're getting, or being the best at your job, or where you're going. You know what I mean? These things can happen, or save your money to start your own company. You know what I mean? These are things that,
or go and intern somewhere.
Or go and intern. Like, everything doesn't have to be money related. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you're going to internship, sometimes the knowledge you're getting is worth more than money. So, but it's hard to explain that to younger people. So what would you say to a younger person that came to you, like, how'd you get this? Like, who did you talk to start with this? Or or did you like? When did you start this?
2013.
2013. So social media was booming around 2013. A lot of people don't know how to use the social media on a platform to get themselves booming, or even who do you go talk to start your business? Like who introduced you to who you know to start your own ways of getting the business, getting your LLC, or even what mindset should they be in when they go in there for that? You know what I mean? Like what should they expect and what shouldn't they expect?
So somebody came to me and asked me how I got here.
Mm-hmm.
For one, it was devising a plan. First and foremost, putting together a mental plan and actually starting to write this stuff down and giving myself some time to actually do it. You know, because living that street life, it destroyed my mindset. Like I was no longer like into actually hard work. And I'm not saying nobody living this life is an easy lifestyle, because your life and your freedom, the highest risk that ever is on the line. So I'm not ever going to downplay a person making that choice. But what I'm saying is that it don't make you look at stuff as in the long term. Everything's instant. So I was so messed up mentally, I had to like really learn how to get that part out of me. It became who I actually was. I was doing it for so long, it actually became who I was. So for one, I had to learn how to start humbling myself first and foremost. You know, at one point you're not concerned about spending tens of thousands of dollars. And then it's like, okay, now I gotta learn how to budget. You know, so I had to like do a whole bunch of destroying and rebuilding a complete mindset, a different lifestyle that I was accustomed to living for a really long time. So that was one. I had to learn how to live a normal life. Then I had to start putting stuff in reality. It's like, okay, I did 11 years in prison, never got a write-up, never got in trouble one time. But why I can't live free? I'm living free and I'm putting myself in this. So what was different inside of here that made me be able to come home? What could I implement from here out here that's gonna let me keep my freedom? And it was a structure. I had to have some structure to my life. And there you have to eat at a certain time. You have to shower at a certain time to an extent. There's certain times of the day that you can't do certain things. If you want to get from one place to another, it's a 10-minute move that you got to get to the next spot in 10 minutes. So it's like having a structure. Not saying in life you got to put yourself on that type of time, but I had to have some structure. Okay, I'm going to work. Now I got to be able to do a specific job at this time to this time, and that's what that is. So after this time, I go interact with my daughter, interact with my son. Like now my days are being taken up. I don't have that idle time for my mind to run and think of how to make the next illegal move.
Okay.
So, you know, my idle time got shortened. And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna go home, I'm gonna start working. First, I gotta get used to working.
Yeah.
Then once I got used to working, then I left my job and I started training. When I went to the strip district, I was training at the gym in the strip district. So I was sub-quarantine. I would pay the guy rent per month to use this facility. He gave me keys. I could come and go as I want. My clientele was my clientele. But my advice for somebody would be, if you don't already have a clientele for any business for the most part that you're gonna get involved with, there's a lot of finances that you're gonna spend just to get your stuff going that's just not gonna balance out on what you got coming in initially.
Yeah.
So, you know, I think a person gotta be financially a little bit stable, have some knowledge to get their credit together.
Yeah.
Maybe getting some type of loan from a bank or something like that. Like, you gotta have knowledge of these things. So that's not like you're gonna walk into a bank with a business plan and voila, you're gonna get $150,000, $200,000. Like, you really gotta have your credit together. Like, you gotta have some type of structure. And you gotta have like a realistic expectation of like a time frame on when these things could actually happen. Like, I come home in 2013, and my 5-year plan was to own my gym in 5 years. It was to get a job, and then was to start my own personal company. Now I was going to start sub-quarantine. Like, this was all in a written down plan. But then within 5 years, I was going to open my own facility. By the grace of God, I was able to get that probably 6 months before the 5-year period was actually up.
Okay.
You know, so a lot of things that happened sped it up, but it was all a blessing because it actually turned into a better thing. So that's my main thing is just patience.
Yeah.
And then just having a game plan and make it realistic. Don't think it's going to happen tomorrow because it's not going to happen tomorrow.
That's some good advice. Cause when you first got into wanting to learn about finances and learn about like how business is done. Now, did you go online for that, or were you more so into like books? You know what I mean? Because a lot of people, sometimes people if they go online, they get distracted, or they have a hard time believing what's online compared to what's in a book. I mean, it's kind of hard to explain, but I'm pretty sure people understand what I mean. Like when you read a book, sometimes people's mindset already believes what's in the book is real. Like that's what it is. This is written down. This is what it's got to be. But when you go online, people seem like people can go online and lie about everything.
Right.
But for you yourself, what did you go to when it came to learn about finances? When you had to break it down and rebuild it about budgeting and everything else? Now, is this something that you had to self-teach yourself, or did you kind of like go to books to learn about it and everything?
Kind of both.
Kind of both.
Well, because I went to school for business administration
Yeah.
and management, so I still had some knowledge of that. But honestly, when it was just coming to actually saving the money,
Yeah.
I sacrificed. I didn't spend a lot of the money on things that I would. I would, because I don't drink. I haven't drunk in 10 years since 2009. Like April will be 10 years. I haven't drunk, took a sip of it. I don't know what it tastes like no more. I haven't smoked no weed in the same amount of time. Like I've just completely cold turkey. My mind, I've been in the right frame of mind for the last 10 years. So I don't have that type of crutch that somebody might have going to a club and spending a few $100s in a club. Excessively spending on designer clothes. Like I wear gym clothes most of the time. I'm in sweatsuits and tennis shoes 98% of the time. And outside of that, when I go out, I might have a suit on or something like that. But it was just sacrifice. It was like not doing the things
you would normally
I would normally do. In order to, I wouldn't go out to restaurants a lot of times for a few times a week like I would normally. Like I was like, no, I'm not. I'm a cook at home. I know how to cook. So I was just like, I'm gonna go grocery shopping, and what I would spend at one restaurant, I got a week's worth of groceries. Now I'm gonna get behind the stove and I'm a meal prep and I'm gonna do these things to save that money. So for me, it was just like sacrificing and saving it, because at the end of the day, it all comes down to bringing in more than you putting out.
Yeah.
So that came from the knowledge of what I've read in books. I'm really big on I read a lot of books, so I'm always in a book. I'm not knocking nothing that happens online, but most of the time online it's summarized. And then there's some people that could go in there and say anything, and depending on what you actually click on, it might be fact or it might not. It might be fiction. But I'm really big on putting my face in books and stuff like that. So it was just what I learned in books and also what I've actually learned hustling.
Okay. So
when you wanted to get to that next level, you start saving all your money.
Oh yeah, and put your money up.
Yeah,
Most definitely. Most definitely.
No comment. I'm gonna stay behind this camera on that one.
But I seen that you said that you know what I'm saying, now when it comes to eating, I seen you say you meal prep or you buy groceries and you say you buy a week's worth or whatever. So when it comes to your fitness lifestyle, so how do you meal? Like how do you eat? Do you meal prep all the time, or how do you get yourself ready for all the meals you have to eat during the day? Or do you know what I'm saying? I seen that you look like you did bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Do you eat more? Do you eat more when you were doing that, or do you still
ate more when I was doing that? And depending on the time, like when you're in the off season, you try to get bigger.
Yeah.
But in a lot of the bodybuilding, it's not really eating good. It's just putting in whatever you can put in to get big. Like they got guts and stuff in the off season. They're not ripped up all year round.
Yeah.
But I couldn't do that. I'm a trainer. Trainers, to me, not supposed to walk around busted up.
Yeah.
Like he should look like what he's teaching.
Oh yeah.
And I'm big and I'm adamant on a trainer actually being able to get into the mix with his clients. I don't like just being the person that barks orders, because you got to demonstrate the exercise. And there's a lot of times, a couple times a day at times, I jump into the routine for some of my clients because they need that push sometimes. And then there's times when the only motivation for some of them is trying to outdo me. I got a few clients, like when we work out together, they go extremely hard. And then it's just some days it's like trying to pull your teeth out sometimes.
Yeah.
For some people, it just depends on that person. It's that, they see you doing it and they're like, oh, well, he actually does the stuff.
Okay.
It's more motivation for them. It's just not like I'm sitting around overweight and I'm just barking. I'm like, well, dude, we'll do it. Okay, I can. I will. Add more weight and then we're going to see the difference. We're going to see the difference when we're going together. My weights are bigger, your weights are small. Now let's go. Yeah, I'm going to do more reps still. I'm going to run fast. I'm going to jump higher. So it's really like getting them to understand that there's levels.
Oh yeah.
I wasn't like this all the time. It was a specific level. I started at a base level like everybody else, and then I just wanted to improve.
And you put time in.
And I put the time in. And this is something that I don't really talk about a lot on television. Like those intimate know about it. Back in March, I donated a kidney to my best friend. His kidneys was bad. He could have died. So I donated one of my kidneys. And then coming back, I didn't work for 6 weeks. But once I was able to come back, I couldn't demonstrate a lot of the exercise because my core was cut. Like I got a cut right here, and my core was weak. So I couldn't do 6 inches for excessive periods of time. I couldn't plank for excessive periods of time because I was weak. But the difference is, I want to get back to where I was at. So I was going to fight and fight and fight until I got back to where I was at. But at a gradual progression, not trying to rush into it. So it was, doing planks, exercises people don't think there's no glory in because they don't look social media
friendly,
not really like glorious.
Yeah.
But that's some of the most important exercise. So I did all these basics that I teach everybody to get myself back to where I'm going. Then it's like, okay, now I feel here, now I can up weights here, I can start doing this now. It wasn't just like, okay, I was in elite form at one point, now I'm gonna just jump right back into it. But to get back to the food aspect, I pretty much eat 4 times a day now.
Yeah.
And I'm saying that because I eat every 3 to 4 hours, and sometimes it varies depending because some of the days are so busy. Like I'm from 5 in the morning to 11, it's like almost no breaks.
Yeah.
So I gotta like try to sneak in some oatmeal or something here while I'm training to actually get the actual food. And I need it because you need it for energy and stuff like. Because food is fuel. But it's just like I ate about 4 times a day. When I was competing, I was doing about 6 times a day. But even in the off season, I was trying to put on as much clean weight as possible.
Yeah.
And it was kind of weird because I'm competing against people like walking around. I weigh 168 at the heaviest. I compete at 165, so I'm not shredding down 20 pounds to compete against a guy that's 140 pounds. Nah, I'm competing against guys 190. But I was winning because my conditioning was just so great. So you could see every muscle in my body because I was so lean. But I was fighting against giants.
Yeah.
It was like David and Goliath. I was like the giant killer. But that's my mentality. Like I'm second to none. I'm not going into nothing to take second place. And this is what I try to get my people to believe. Anybody that trains with me or anybody's close to me is that you have the ability to be the best that you can be at whatever it is. I ran track. I played basketball. I wasn't happy when we lost the playoffs and didn't win a championship. The goal is to win.
Yeah.
My goal is never to come in second place because when I ran track, when I came in second place, I was madder than when I came in fifth because I had a chance to win. So now it's like, well, what more could I have done to win? So it's just like now, it's just like I got a winner's mentality, and it's more so in life now because I don't have no room for error.
Yeah.
Another loser, I'm going to jail for a really long time for nothing.
Yeah.
Like for nothing. So it's just like a win at all cost mindset. This was instilled in me as a young kid. My dad told me that, but at the end of the day, it's not saying you're to look down on anybody. It's just to say that, you have the ability to do what you set your mind to an extent. Not nothing impossible, but almost anything is possible when you set your mind to.
That's all mental right there. That's a mental aspect when it comes to like wanting to win like that. Yeah. Like I see competitiveness in like a lot of my kids and nephews and nieces, and of course sometimes it's petty to me, but at times I know that like that's that drive like that. Right. I'm not losing to you. You're crazy.
I watched a boxing match the other day, right? The guy lost. It was a very controversial decision. But at the interview, the guy cried. That's a grown man. The guy cried. He said, I don't take losing well. He said, that's why I don't play video games.
I forgot the
He said, that's why I don't play video games because I don't take losing well. I'm like, yeah. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah, most definitely. That's what we need.
Because second place is the first person that lost the race. You don't want to be that person.
Oh, yeah, you're the first one to lose.
Yeah, and if you're content with that, then okay, then.
Now, on that, do you think because of the participation awards, when kids lose, do you think that's why a lot of people have lost like the drive and the motivation to win?
Oh,
not squeeze, but I'm just saying like, how you give a kid for something for losing, like, hey, pat on the back, and you watching the winning team. Do you think that because we're giving people second place award or not, fourth place and fifth place, you think that took the motivation of I want to do better and I want to win?
It can, and I heard some kids say that. I heard some kids say that they had a banquet and they gave everybody the same award. So there were kids that were like, well, why I don't get a bigger award? And I had X amount of touchdowns. I did more.
I was MVP.
Yeah, I was the MVP of the team, so why I didn't get something a little extra? I'm not saying we all can't get this, but why those that didn't go a little beyond get something a little more? So I think it may be disheartening to those that put more effort in, and it may be a crutch for those not to step their game up also that just still got something for nothing. I'm not saying nothing, but there's guys that was on the bench that might not have played at all and still got a trophy.
Got a ring,
So
baby.
what is your motivation now in the offseason to want to be a starter next year or to want to take somebody's spot? So I think it goes both ways. I think it's a little disheartening when you don't give it to the people that actually deserve it. And I think it's a little, it's a crutch, like I just mentioned. It's a crutch for those that got something that may not have should have gotten the same thing that he got.
Yeah.
Because if he's better than me, he's the MVP. Like in the NBA, there's one MVP of the season. It's not 28 or 32, however many teams it is. It's one. He's the most valuable player in the NBA. Football, there's the most valuable offensive player, there's the most valuable defensive player. Position, they the best at that position. They got something extra throughout the whole league. The Super Bowl, there's everybody get a Super Bowl trophy and money, but one person get the MVP. That's what I think should actually be happening in order to make somebody want to take it to the next level. And then there's some people that's never going to take it to that level because being a dominator is not everybody's makeup. There's some things that you just can't teach.
Yeah.
And there's some things that's like inevitable for some people. When people go into like the military, they just don't make generals out of the average person. It's who they witness making these specific progressions and who's leader by default to it. It's like he just automatically became the leader. We put this group of 10 over here and he's the one that devised the strategy to get through the obstacle course. Like they witnessed that, and it's the same thing in life. Like there's certain people that you could just witness have a greatness about them. And there's some people that just want to be okay.
Some people that just here, just here. They a body, they a number.
They say there's builders and there's workers. Be either
ain't
one.
nothing wrong with it. You can't have too many chiefs.
And it's going to be like that in life. Since creation, there was kings and there was people underneath them, and there's always going to be employers and employees. It's just going to be the way life is. There's just never going to be a time when everybody is an entrepreneur. Who's going to?
Yeah.
Who's going to build? Who's going to do this stuff?
I got the idea.
Yeah, we all got the idea.
Yeah.
Like we just got a bunch of people with ideas now.
And if I got the money, if I pay you as an entrepreneur, I'm paying another entrepreneur to build my stuff. They're gonna be like,
yeah, really?
What? You don't need to do what?
So it's just the way of life, man.
So my last question for the part one part of this interview is, what do you envision for the future for your brand?
What I envision for Club Elevation, I'm gonna go there with Club Elevation. I envision Club Elevation becoming a bigger gym than this is. It's going to actually be able to be sustained by members and not two individuals training hand in hand. That's what I envision with Club Elevation and possibly branding out throughout the country.
Yeah.
That's what I see with Club Elevation. God willing, that's what's going to happen. Now, with regards to goal-oriented training, some non-profit ventures and stuff is going to happen. And a lot of things involving at-risk youth, cultivating an education for kids who's not at risk, and programs that can help individuals coming home from prisons, man, that'll try to get them into a better mindset so that more families can help being rebuilt instead of being torn down.
Yeah.
And just thrown out in the streets.
Like they feel like they gotta go back to where they left off at.
Because there's nothing that they really know. And everybody don't really have the discipline to know how to tone their life down. And it's sad. And it's not an excuse for nobody, man. It's continue to live that life. But there gotta be a point in time where you're just not overwhelmed by the glam and glitter of life.
Yeah.
Like there gotta be a time when that's not your number one drive.
Right.
A person has to really learn, like, okay, I hear people that come home from jail, no GEDs or maybe a diploma from high school, nothing from college, saying I'm not gonna work that job. Well, what accolades do you have besides your pride, or you having some money from a legal life that says that you're too good for this job? There's people with master's degrees working minimum wage jobs until they're able to get into somewhere else. So what accolades do you have that you're too good to work a specific job? Like that's what I tell these individuals to ask themselves, because it's like, wow, well, how you gonna change? Because you have no history of a work. So what you gonna build your resume from? They're gonna look at it, it's gonna be blank. So you need to start learning how to crawl before you walk. And I think that's going to be one of the most important things for people to start transitioning over, man, from that life to living a normal life as a normal citizen.
I think a lot of people get caught up into, and it's people everywhere. They're caught up in the world of what people think. You know what I mean? you know, there's dudes out there that if their only option was to work at McDonald's to support their family, they wouldn't do it because they don't want a certain person or certain people to come in McDonald's to see them.
For sure.
You know what I mean? I'm not saying, and I'm only using McDonald's because of just the minimum wage thing, because you know a lot of people that's like a stepping stone for a lot of people.
And honestly, people look down on the McDonald's.
They do. But sometimes I think you gotta remove what that person thinks to go, all right, I need this because I gotta go here, and my family still need this. I don't care if it's $150 you're bringing in. It's $150 that you can get your baby something, you can pitch it on the bill, you can do what you gotta do to keep going where you're going. But that was that was the question for part one. We want to set up for part two. But